we created a pipeline internship that unfortunately didn't make it through COVID, but the very first person who put into that internship, graduated from here, went and got was an intern there, did a graduate degree at a different institution, but ultimately went back to that place that they had the internship and worked there now. And they're the head of the veteran affinity group at that organization. And so we still do work with them when we show up to there. And when we called the alumni, the veteran alumni, to help participate because we're trying to, and we're currently doing this, try to raise money for an opportunity fund. And the reason of the opportunity fund is recognizing how diverse the population is, right? So since we are so diverse, everyone's need is very different. So we called him. He's like, "Oh, absolutely, I'll be there. What do you need?" And so he came back to do an event with us just to help raise awareness and hopefully money for the opportunity fund. So I mean, it's nice to see them be successful after. And so that's like, it's very rewarding because our goal again is like, we want you to have a great experience in higher education and college, great. But we really want you to be successful long term, right? And so those are I think the student situations that.
I mean, that reminded me that I work with the social work students here since I'm a field instructor here. I supervise their students when they come. There's a field placement component in the MSW program. So we are a location where they can fulfill that internship requirement. And I supervise usually the students that are like in their bachelor's level social work, like finishing up their undergrad degree or like the first year of their MSW program. We have had second year MSW students as well that have had like a clinical placement or a policy, like they were on the policy track. So anyway, I supervise those students here, and a lot of times, they're not. Sometimes they do graduate, and we hear their story, but sometimes we have students that are here and they still have like another year, and we help them get another placement, or we follow them, or they stay in touch with us. Because I build a pretty close relationship with these students, working with them throughout the year, meeting with them for supervision, helping them develop their social work skills. It's like I'm a mentoring position with them formally through the School of Social Work, and we end up kind of following them. Even if they're not graduating, we end up following them to their, seeing where they're going to be at their next internship, or after they graduate, they, let me know. Like I know pretty much all the interns that I've had here, where they're currently at. So yeah, it's a great and positive, way to close out that, that their experience here at the college level, and to keep that door open and be able to follow them, into their next chapter. Sometimes we don't hear from them, we help students out and we don't hear from them, and that's okay too, But it is truly nice and rewarding to be able to like follow the ones that we help out, and they are very, grateful and thankful for our assistance. So that's definitely something that we appreciate.
Definitely. That's so important too, as like higher education professors and active support to make sure that success is not only just in the higher education field or in let's say the domain of it, that you're also successful in a whole bunch of other domains. Being that ability as well, like teaching how the students how to adapt to different situations, like not just being all in one place to go to, but being the place that is the guide that points around and says, "Go over here, ask some questions, be responsible." Because then that generally just ultimately creates the success of that person. And I'm so happy you guys do that for the veterans here and for all the military affiliates that are here. That's important, Sometimes like after college, like people will have their degrees, but the degree didn't make them successful. Like, they'll still do like sometimes you'll get the degree, but then your job wouldn't be around the degree. So like sometimes higher education for some people would like, why would I even go get a higher education if my degree isn't even apply to what I'm gonna do long term? I guess for that situation, if someone has a degree and they don't use it long term, I guess what are the principles of getting a higher education? Like what are those principles that make somebody successful, even if it's not a long degree? Let's say like in fine art, for example, a lot of people go get a lot like art science degrees, fine art science degrees, but they won't find themselves in the gallery space. Like I'm one of those examples, right? Like I won't find myself in the gallery space yet, at least, but I'm still gonna find myself successful in other areas, which definitely helped out because of higher education, being the faculty, being those mentor mentees to everybody.
I don't think that it was so much of a change. We've always had a reading problem. There's always been a reading problem, right? COVID did not unveil this great big reading problem. COVID unveiled the access and accessibility, right? That woke us up. But we've always had a problem in this country with reading, going back to anti-literacy laws. So I just want to preface what I'm about to say with the fact that our brains were not wired to read. We have to teach it to read, right? It does this great thing. It rewires itself, right, to form pathways for reading to develop. A lot of people don't understand that. It's very different than language. Language, you can put a child in a room full of people who are speaking and they will speak. You don't have to teach them how to talk, right? That is not going to happen for reading. You cannot sit someone in a room full of people who are reading, whether they're reading out loud or silently. It's not going to happen. You have to teach it to read, right? That starts very early. What we think is reading starts in kindergarten, and then we build these habits in kindergarten. And if we think that, we're 5 years already behind, right? Reading starts really at the moment of conception. How? Well, all of the stuff that mom eats, all of the environmental pressures and stress impacts the developing brain. Reading is all about the brain. The brain is the main character, right? And so if we understand that, then we have a point of reference. And so how do we build stamina, right? Because in order to learn to read and read well, you have to build stamina. I'm like, this is a race, right? Not for the quick athlete, but it's endurance. And it took us years, decades to get here. My book has only been out since August. It's not going to take months for us to get out. And so people have to come to the point where I came to and say, okay, I reflected, now I see, and now I'm going to do better. When you know better, you do better.
It's time to create.
I'm trying to coexist. Yeah, I'm trying to coexist. I'm trying to coexist.